This is the first Smoking Brothers cooking segment here on the break, and we've got Craig in here to do one of his famous recipes we had at elk camp last year.
What we're gonna make today is we're gonna make reverse seared elk burgers. And you know, reverse seared, it seems to be the kind of the new thing, but basically what you get is you get the flavor of the smoke in the burger, plus you also get that nice char finish on it, so when they're done, hopefully they're good.
They're good, believe me. We're gonna get started. Bring it to you.
Well, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna kind of run through the ingredients of what we have here. I like to cook down a little bit of pepper and onion. I cook it down because I want, when the burger's done, I want the pepper and the onion not to be crunchy. I want it to be cooked into the meat. So we go ahead and saute that down. Got a little bit of steak seasoning. Basically, it's salt and pepper, maybe a little bit of garlic. We have some Worcestershire sauce, and we also mix in a little Italian panko breadcrumbs, and we bind it all together with a couple of eggs. And of course we have our main ingredient, the elk. And what I want to do is I want to cut the peppers and the onions up. Now, not everybody likes peppers and onions, or at least in the chunk form, so I tend to cut it up a little smaller so that it's not as noticeable, but you get the flavor. But by all means, if you're a pepper and onion fan, leave them as chunky as you want. So we're cooking about 6 pounds of meat. I'm using a whole pepper. You know, probably a couple pounds, 2-3 pounds of meat. Half a pepper would probably be plenty. Really, it's just personal preference. After I slice this up, I'm going to take a chopping knife, chop it up in a little bit smaller. One of the reasons that we cook the pepper and the onions down is they actually have quite a bit of water in them. And if you don't cook them down, that water kind of releases in that burger. They don't tend to not want to hold together, so it's another reason why we want to cook the peppers and the onions down a little bit to remove some of that water. Got our pepper chunked up, and I'm just going to run through it with the chopper here and put it in a little bit smaller pieces. Alright, I've got the onion here, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to chop it up into really small pieces. It goes in with the peppers, cooks at the same time. And like I said, we're just going to kind of cook that on down, but we'll chop these up into really small pieces so that it's more taste than it is actual texture. A few big chunks left in here. Looks like we're getting pretty close though. So as we're getting ready to cook down the peppers and the onions, what we want to do is we want to get the grill fired up and have it ready to go for the burgers. What I like to do is I like to smoke them at 225. About 1/3 pound patties is what we're going to have, and we're going to smoke them for about 30 minutes. And then we'll finish them off with that sear, give them that nice charred flavor, and that's going to take about 4 to 5 minutes for each side. All right, that looks pretty good. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cook these down. Going to get a little bit of olive oil going on the stove. We'll cook them pretty quick, pretty hot. What we're going to do is we want to cook them until we kind of cook the water out of them, and then just kind of make the onions translucent and the peppers soft. That's kind of what we're looking for. Alright, we got the grill on. It's heating up to 225. That Smoking Brothers grill, it won't take very long to get there. What we want to do now is we want to cook our peppers and onions down. I've got the skillet hot, so we'll just we'll get it going. While that's cooking down, we're going to go ahead and get the elk out, and we're going to get it in the bowl and start mixing our other ingredients. We got a few people coming over tonight, so we're going to be doing 6 pounds, so we've upped the recipe a little bit. So I'm going to get the elk in the bowl here. That looks good. Alright, we're going to start mixing the ingredients here. What we want to do is we want to put a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce in here. Normally I just eyeball it, but put 1/4 cup for the 6 pounds. What I like to do is add a couple of eggs. Use this kind of as a binding agent to hold it together. This is the panko breadcrumbs. I use an Italian style, a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of flavor in it. But what I want to do is, as we add that Worcestershire sauce, gives it that good flavor. We also need to bind it together so they don't fall apart on the grill. I'm going to go ahead and start mixing this. I'm going to mix this in real good, get those breadcrumbs evenly distributed. With that Worcestershire sauce in there, it smells amazing. Alright, that looks good and mixed. We get the onions and peppers in. We're going to mix it up some more. I'll wash my hands and check on the onions and peppers. They should be getting close. As you can see, they're kind of sweating down, releasing some of that water. I'm going to cook them a little bit longer, cook them down a little bit further. But looking good. You can see the peppers and the onions have cooked down. I just tried one of the onions and they're nice and soft. So what we'll do is we'll take these off and let them cool down just for a little bit before we mix them in with the meat. But we'll put them in this bowl here and give them a few minutes. So I think we've got the peppers and onions cooled off. I stuck them down here in the blast chiller. I think we're ready to mix them up. These peppers and onions in here, they add a whole nother layer of flavor. Makes these burgers taste really good. Alright, looks like we got nice, good distribution. What we're going to do is start pattying the burgers out. I like to make my burgers 1/3 of a pound, a little bit stronger than that. So what I want to do is I want to try to be consistent with the burger. So I'm going to grab just a nice handful, make a nice little ball with it, kind of gauge that. Fill my hand up, patty out the burger. And it's just like that. We are on to the next one. This elk meat is real lean. It's not going to shrink up a whole lot. So we'll get nice bun-sized hamburgers when we're done. You know, as you can see, there's quite a bit of peppers and onion in our burgers here. We used, for 6 pounds of meat, we used 1 full onion, 1 full pepper. It was a nice size onion. The onion was probably a little larger than average. But you can put as much onion or pepper or as little in as you want. Obviously, you can leave that step out if you just don't like peppers and onions. But I think you'll find if you put that in your burgers, it adds a whole nother flavor and gives them a really, really nice taste. Yeah, as you pat these burgers out, you know, we've got the Worcestershire sauce in here, but adding the breadcrumbs and the egg can feel a really nice tack to it. And as that cooks, it really binds the burgers together. You're gonna get a nice sheen to it, and they're gonna look really nice once they're done. And we're gonna finish these burgers off with a little bit of seasoning here. It's a steak seasoning that I use. Basically what it is, salt, pepper, and a little bit of garlic. We're gonna sprinkle these nice and lightly. We're going to do both sides. A little bit on it. We're going to finish this off with Smoking Brothers plus the kitchen sink. It's a sweet rub with a little bit of heat. Adds a nice flavor to these hamburgers. Alright, that looks good. What we'll do now is we'll flip them over and we'll hit the other side. Burgers are seasoned up. They look amazing. They are ready for the grill. Alright, got the grill at 225. We're ready to get the burgers on. Alright, looks good. Put just a little bit of space in between each one of them so they are cooked nice and even. Burgers are on. We're going to let those cook at 225 for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to finish them off with a nice sear, and they should be good to go. All right, it's been 30 minutes. We've had the burgers on, so we're going to open it up, take a look at them, see what they look like. Yeah, they're in really good shape, looking good. Look like they're right where they need to be. You know, one of the things that we're going to do is we're actually going to sear these now. And Smoking Brothers has a product called the Heat Wave, and it really is nice because we used to, in the old days, we'd have to pull these off, put them over charcoal or put them on a gas grill to get that sear on them. But with the Heat Wave, we're going to install it here in just a minute, and actually what it does is it directs the heat. I'm going to crank the heat up a little bit and it directs the heat over the burgers and puts a nice sear on them. So we're going to get these installed and check it out. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to move the burgers out of the way, installing these little grates here that slip underneath the grate. What we'll do is we'll move the burgers and then get these installed, and we'll start the searing process. First one installed, we'll lift this one up. And now this one. It's really easy. Scoot that down just a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get the grill turned up. We want to sear these at about 400. So we're going to bump it on up and get it started. One of the nice features on this Smoking Brothers is it heats up really quick. Does a really nice job. Here we are at 400. We're going to close the lid. We're going to let it heat up. Then we're going to move the burgers over and get a nice sear on them and finish them off. We've got the temp up, so what we're going to do is we're going to move the burgers and start putting the sear on them. Got the thermometer in this one. I want to pull them off at about 165. Cook our burgers well done. First seared elk burgers. Basically what we did is we used the Smoking Brothers. We put some smoke on them, cranked the heat up, used the Heat Wave, and put a nice sear on them, and we got them completed.
Here's the results, and they look awesome. You're definitely going to want to cook these. Let's give it a shot. Even better than I remember. You outdid yourself once again.